It's that part of the show where we got to chat some betting, and this week we're reunited at last. The push-up king, Tommy Rockliff. Let's do it, mate. Let's get into it. How you feeling?
Yeah, no, very good. Looking forward to the push-up challenge. Obviously, mental health for men and everyone actually is really important. So that's a good cause, Ryan. But let's get this multi back on track. We've got to have a win at some stage again, don't we?
Oh, fingers crossed, mate. We're due. I think things have been pretty bleak with Dill over the last couple of weeks, but we'll get into that in just a second. First cab off the rank this week. It's been a big talking point over the last 24 hours. Collingwood's injury crisis. I've just sent you the picture of their list of outs heading into Friday night's game against the Doggies. Mason Cox has gone down with the knee. Myercheck not back until round 14. Jeremy Howe still doubtful with the groin. Tommy Mitchell round 13. Same for Jamie Elliott. The list goes on and on. Pretty plain and simple question for you here, mate. We're getting about $3.70 for the Pies to miss out on the finals, which would be extraordinary considering they won the flag. Would you take that price, knowing that list of outs?
They're out for a while. DeGoey's a big one as well. He's not back until round 16, so they're just hanging on at the moment. They've been good the last few weeks. The draw, 2 draws will hurt them, I think, come season's end. So they're going to have to go really well in the back half of the season to make the 8. It's worth a little nibble, isn't it? When you've got that list of injuries, you want your best players out there, and we've seen what happens when you don't have your best team available. Richmond fallen absolutely off the cliff. Brisbane a little bit. We'll chat them a bit more, but I think going into Friday night, there's some good value about the Western Bulldogs at $2.25 head-to-head against Collingwood with their outs.
It's a very fascinating market. I'm curious, though, to get your thoughts on just the injury crisis in general. Do you think it's because the preseason's too short? Is it this on-again, off-again nature of the buys this year? What do you chalk this up to?
Yeah, no idea. I think there's 150 plus, isn't there, on injury lists at the moment. So it's not ideal. Obviously, the professionalism and the way players go about it and clubs and organisations, that they pour heaps and heaps of money into this and resources. So I don't think it's under-resourced. It could be a combination of factors, but maybe we're been asking the players to do too much. I mean, when you have an off-season now, you have literally a week or two off and then you start running again or you start exercising again. And so your body's only having that sort of short period of time off, a couple of weeks, and then you're back into it. Yes, it's not a full 6-7 days a week, but it's three major sessions a week and weights as well. So you're constantly going for pretty much 12 months of the year around. I don't think that starting the preseason a bit later and then bringing the games forward has contributed to it. I think maybe it's time that the players actually get a bit more of a decent rest in the off-season. Make it mandatory that you have 4 weeks. I know it'll be harder for guys that put on weight, etc., to come back, but I think if you let the players actually rest, their body recover over a 4-week period instead of a 2-week period, they're going to be much better in the long term.
I'm still not convinced this isn't just some sort of ploy from Craig McRae to have his side rested for the finals. You never know with him. Moving on, we got a big game on Thursday night. Big clash between a couple of the top 2018 draft picks in Sam Walsh and your boy Zach Butters when the Power take on the Blues. Carlton's midfield stood up really nicely last week in a really tough battle against the Gold Coast. Walsh and Cripps both had 30-plus touches individually in that game. Butters a little bit quiet in the touches count, but did have the 2 goals against North Melbourne. And worth mentioning, too, that these 2 names are pretty high up in the Brownlow market. Butters is $13, Walsh $21 himself. Look, mate, are you confident in backing Walshy or Butters here to have 25 plus, 30 plus? What can we steer the punters into when it comes to the disposals markets this week?
Yeah, I'd probably lean more towards Walsh to have more disposals, probably 30 plus there. Butters maybe 25. I think Butters will have more of an impact on the game. As silly as that sounds, probably that Walsh is going to have more disposals, but Butters will have more of an impact. I think Butters coming out the front of stoppages, ability to hit the scoreboard, hit targets inside 50. I think his impact and score involvements will be higher, but I think Walsh will have more of the disposals. Walsh gets in those contests a lot more. I think Butters is more the zing around the contest and ping out the front, and it's really impactful when he does that. So I would be leaning towards maybe Walsh 30 plus, maybe even 35 plus, depending who Drew goes to. I'd imagine Drew would probably go to Cripps. And then Butters 25 plus, but also will hit the scoreboard, so I'd probably take him 25 plus and 2 plus. goals.
There you go, punters. Hot tip from the man himself. Another team, another one of your former teams, I should say, Brisbane Lions. I feel like you're happy to put a pen through their finals hopes after just coming off second best to my Hawks last week. Jeez, it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Hawks up and about.
Yeah, we are up and about. Bogey teams, though, as far as it goes for Brisbane, 5th straight loss to Hawthorn last weekend. Worth mentioning that none of those losses have come in Queensland, mind you, but just felt like another sort of cold game from Brisbane where things just didn't go right. Looked like they were going to get on top in that third quarter and just couldn't quite get the job done. Handball first approach isn't working, and just feels like there's some players that could be playing for different clubs maybe next season. McCluggage, Charlie Cameron, I don't know. There's a lot of names that fans aren't happy with right now. But any faith in Brisbane making the 8 after they return from the bye this week? Still getting $2.75 for the Lions.
Yeah, it's funny when teams get bogeys like Hawthorn. I remember Richmond was mine when we were at Brisbane. I don't think I ever beat them there over a 9-year period. So quite incredible when teams just get run-ons against. Brisbane, they've got the week off this week. They might as well have the rest of the season off. Put the queue in the rack. They're not playing finals this year, and nor should they. I think they should look to almost rejuvenate a little bit like what Sydney did last year when they got rolled. They couldn't quite get in, even Geelong to a degree as well. They made a decision probably 6 weeks out to start to send guys into surgery. It benefits you with picks. They've got a lot of injuries as well. But, yeah, they need to start to make some tough decisions at selection. I wouldn't be trading your A-graders, Cameron, McCluggage. I try and keep on to them, but there is guys that are going to have question marks over them moving forward. One guy that you just want to see more of. I love him as a player when he's up and about. He's a champion bloke as well in the times that I've met him. Cam Rayner. He just needs to have more impact consistently for that Lions team. Number 1 draft pick, a lot of pressure. We know that he's had some injury concerns in the past, but he has all the attributes to dominate games. We've seen him dominate quarters, but he comes in and out of games. He needs to really become a consistent 4-quarter player for the Lions. Cameron's been out of touch. Danaher as well, that forward line. Do they bring Hipwood back in this week? I don't think they do. I think that they might even bring him back through the reserve. So, yeah, they need to just be a bit more firm. I think at selection, start to reward some VFL players that are playing well. A guy like Jared Lyons consistently performs week in, week out. Even when he comes into the senior team, he has his 20-25 and he's consistent in his approach. So I think they need to start to reward those players at VFL level now where they sit. I think you can put a line through them for finals.
I've always felt like Rayner could be that sort of player that does eventually play for another club, and the Lions are left kicking themselves in 5 years' time when he basically restarts his career. Speaking of restarting, though, we've got to get into this multi, mate. I don't even know how you went last week with Dill, so you can refresh me on this one.
We got 2 out of 4. I think Dill got 1 leg and I got 1 leg. I took Melbourne to beat St Kilda comfortably, which they did, even though they gave up 3 late goals. And I think I had Tom Stewart to have 25 plus. He was pretty quiet in that game. I can't even remember what Dill had. I just tune out when Dill normally speaks, particularly in this segment. But, yeah, time to move forward. So I'm going to rip into this one first, and I'm going to go Jeremy Cameron against Richmond. I think he's going to have a fill-up. I think Geelong have been quiet. I think he's the man for the job. I'm going to back him for 4+.
That's huge.
4+ goals, and I'm going to take Lukosius on Sunday afternoon as well. I think King will get the Mackay match up, and I think Lukosius may get off the chain. I'll take him 2+. I think they're going to play him forward for the rest of the season. Dimmer's admitted that they got it wrong when they sent him back, so I'd imagine he'll play in the forward line, so I'm comfortable to take him 2+.
Sticking with the player markets, I like it. I'm going with that same game. I'm taking the Suns 1-39 against the Bombers. 7-5 off a previous loss over the last 12 months. We know they're very tough to beat up there on the Gold Coast. And I like Melbourne to cover against the Dockers in Darwin. Freo's been belted in their last couple of games at TIO Stadium. I think it's about a 13.5-point line. So that seems pretty generous in my book. So to recap, we've got Melbourne to cover against Freo, the Suns 1-39, Lukosius 2+ goals in that same game against the Bombers, Jezza Cameron 4+. This is a big one for us, $22.34.
22-34. That game is in Alice Springs as well, not in Darwin. So I don't know whether I don't know whether that affects your decision or not. You happy?
No.
Still? Northern Territory, same state or territory.
Tough for the Dockers to travel.
$22 is juicy.
It is very juicy. I'm feeling pretty good about this, actually. I think we made some good selections here.
I don't look at that and go, I'm not comfortable with any leg. So if we can get that up for the punters at 22.34, happy days.
Modern day heroes, mate. You're already an Adelaide legend. You can become a Neds legend.
Yeah, that's right.
You can find that multi in the special section on the Neds app. Good chat as always, Rocky. We'll do it next week.
Good on you, Ryan.